Hi. So before this video plays, I'm going to make a disclaimer here at the start. These videos that I'm going to make analyzing Lester's herd are strictly just logical and based on my personal point of view. None of my criticisms or anything like that is meant in any bad or hateful way. It is just me analyzing and viewing what I see in front of me from my point of view. And I believe that each of the cows and the bulls and the calves and all of them each have things that they each have pros and cons to them. Some have great composition, but they don't have as good of a horn length, or some have the longest horns in the world but aren't the flashiest of colors. Like there's a lot of different things that tie into the breeding aspect. So two cows, you can breed a cow with short horns to a cow with really long horns and meet somewhere in the middle. Like that's something that you can do just to improve the breed over time. And then you breed that cow to another cow that has even longer horns and get longer horns down the line. It's just about improving the breed. Each cow has places they could be improved upon, and each cow has features that they breeding could help another cow improve their look in some way, shape, or form. And each breeder looks for different things when they breed. Some breed more for flashier colors, some breed more for meat quality, some breed for having really long horns to be entered into contests and tip-to-tip trophy steers and just different things. It's just about finding different things and strategically breeding so that you can achieve the type of look that you want in your animals. It's just the way that breeding is. Each cow or each animal has their pros, their cons, their strengths, their weaknesses that can be factored into how they're bred. So just thought I'd explain that so that nothing I say in any of these comes across as me shaming or being hateful or being condescending or being any type of negative thing toward the animals themselves. I'm not saying any of these animals are bad, or that any of them are greater. Some are greater than others in some aspect. Well, just it's each animal has pros and cons to it. That's all there is. Enjoy the video. Howdy, everyone. So something I've thought about doing for the past couple weeks now is I want to analyze Lester's herd. I want to go through all the different cows, the bulls, the calves, and analyze the whole herd, each individual cow, and see who they are, what their strengths and weaknesses are, and what they bring to Lester's program. And I feel like that's something people would be interested in seeing from my viewpoint. Yeah. So I'm going to start with I'm going to split this up into several different parts. A, so the videos aren't as long, and B, so I can get more videos about the same topic. Just get a good amount of videos out of the same topic. I'm going to start with the bulls. So that's what this video is going to be about, is the bulls. So we'll start off with Waylon. Now, I know Waylon is no longer a part of the ranch and is no longer a part of the herd, but his bloodline and his bloodline and his features are still affecting the herd's future. And excuse me. His bloodline is still affecting the herd, so I figured I might as well talk about him, and also why not talk about Waylon? So Waylon, a lot of his strengths come from his body conformation. He's got a really nice look to him. He's got a really nice flat back. He's got great shoulders and hip definition, and he's got a very square shaped body frame as well that just leads him to a very strong and beefy look to him. Waylon has a bit more of the beef style breeding bred into him. That's a hard sentence for some reason. As compared to Tex, who's a bit more of a leaner bull, as I've said before, and as I'll get to. But yeah, Waylon. One of the main drawbacks with Waylon was his horn length. Now, Waylon was not a mature bull. He was around 3.5 to 4 years old when he left the ranch. Yeah. But he's still got a great look to him. Yeah. And one of his main drawbacks was his horn length. But if you looked at his horns had great position and they had great direction. His horns were really nice and thick. They had great direction. They were placed correctly on his head. But anyway, sorry, dog's making noise in the background. Do you want to make this video for me? If you want to, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, one of Waylon's one of his strongest features was his calf production quality. Like, Waylon produced great calves, both great color in his calves, but also great, especially in composition of his calves. And also something that not a lot of bulls have is the consistency. Waylon was very consistent in his production. So a lot of bulls will either produce great-looking heifers or great-looking bull calves consistently, but not a lot of bulls will produce good, consistent quality in both genders. Waylon produced great-looking heifers and bulls, which is a really good thing to have in a bull, producing-wise. And another thing, his calves looked the gender that they were. So I'm kind of the opinion where it's a good thing if you can tell the gender of the calf by looking at it. Like, all of Waylon's bull calves looked like bull calves, whereas all of his heifer calves looked like heifer calves, if that makes sense. Like how you would look at Prince Willie Joe and Lord Grayson. Like, you could look at them even when they were a couple months old, that they were bull calves. Like, that 100%. You could not know anything about the herd, and you would just look out into the pasture and see those calves. They looked like bull calves. Whereas his heifer calves, Serenity, Norma Jean, Amber Rose, they all looked like heifer calves and had a more lean build. Another thing Waylon was good at is in his bull calves is producing good-looking heads. Like Prince Willie Joe and Lord Grayson had great, correct-looking heads. So did Waylon, actually, but I think his calves had a bit more correcter heads than he did. That makes sense. But yeah, he produced great-looking calves in color and quality, which is always great. All right. Now let's talk about Jolly Boy, old Jolly Goodfellow. Jolly, bringing Jolly into the ranch brought in good pattern, as Lester wants to breed for pasture art, which is very valuable business as of right now. But excuse me, Jolly has great pattern and color to him. Now, with Jolly's color, I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on with that, because he doesn't look Parker Brown like what Tex is and what Waylon was, but he also doesn't look solid black. Like, if you look at Jolly versus Money Talks over at Schumacher's, like, Money Talks is a solid black bull, but Jolly kind of looks duller in his color, if that makes sense. Like, if he is black, he's like a more dull colored black. I don't know. It's a little confusing, but yeah, he's got great color pattern to him, and he's also I think he's a bit taller in his build than what Tex is, which he's got taller shoulders and taller hips, and he just looks taller. in my opinion, taller build, whereas Tex is a bit more lower set and lower to the ground. Yeah, he's got great looking shoulders and a very correct looking head. Like I'm a fan of I'm a fan of bulls having a bit more of a square shaped bullish head. And of course, the obvious one is his horns. Jolly, whereas Waylon had shorter horns, and some of his calves can kind of reflect that with not having as long of horns as they could. Jolly could help correct that if he breeds with Waylon's daughters in the future to help combine Waylon's good composition producing with Jolly's horn direction and color pattern, if that kind of makes sense. But yeah, Jolly's a really nice addition to the herd with bringing in good horn length, thickness, and color pattern, the three main things. Yeah. Oh, and with Jolly's production, we don't really have a lot of information about his producing, like what kind of calves he produces. We've heard he's a proven bull, obviously, and he's produced several calves at his old home. I have seen one of his calves. I'll put up a picture of it, but the calf that I saw was a pretty good looking calf, red and white, and just had decent looking composition. But it's hard to tell going off of just one image. But yeah, I have no worries with what Jolly could produce. All right. Anyway, let's get on to Tex, the main man. Tex is a very lean-bodied bull. He always has been. He was always a lean bull and has a very long body as well, as opposed to Jolly's more tall build. But Tex has a very lean build and long build, and as well as a bit more lower set than what Jolly is, and bulls like JP Rio Grande or other bulls like that. He's got great composition to him and his good color producing. All of his calves are lean. Like his calves are lean, even the bulls. Santoro was a very lean bull. Emperor Ed is a lean bull as compared to Waylon's. Like if you look at, say this year, you've got Duke of Dalscone versus Emperor Ed, you can see a clear difference in their body type. Emperor Ed, who's Tex's son, is more lean, whereas Duke of Dalscone, who is Waylon's son, is a bit more stocky and beefy of a bull. And that's not saying either one is bad. I'm just saying there's a clear difference in the body types that you see from each of the bulls producing. Yeah. And none of these are me criticizing. I'll put a disclaimer at the start, but yeah, I just you can see that Tex produces a leaner line of calves than what Waylon does. Yeah, it's just a noticeable difference between the two boys. Is there anything else? Personality is also a factor when it comes to bulls. Tex is a very mild-mannered bull, comparatively. Like there are some bulls who don't care if there's a gate in the way. If they want to get to you, they'll get to you, and that's especially important to remember when a bull has horns like what Tex and Jolly do. Yeah, because there's always that old video of Tex or of Lester humming the Titanic music, and Tex not running through a gate, but just gingerly, just lowering his head and just gingerly walking through a gate to get to Billy's pasture.
Look at this, folks. When a bull does that right there, get home. Suki, get your tail back home. Oh my God. Go home. Yeah. Tex was here.
That's a funny memory for me. I remember back then. Anyway, enough nostalgia. But yeah. trying to think if there's anything else I need to talk about. Here, let me pause this and I'll be back. Oh, something I forgot to mention for Tex. Something that I forgot to mention for Tex is his head structure. Tex has a bit more of a slimmer face. I mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but I'll mention it here again. As opposed to a bull like Jolly, who has that blocky, square-shaped, bullish head, Tex has a bit more of a long and slender face. Always has, and he's gotten more stocky as he's gotten older because that's just how bulls mature. But yeah, he's got a bit more of a naturally slimmer face, which can make him look a bit more. As a calf, it looks more like a steer. Like if the slimmer faces makes a bull look a bit more like a steer than other bulls. Like some bulls at 4 months old, you can tell that they've got that square-shaped head. Like I've heard ranchers say that you can know whether a bull is going to be a good kept as a bull or should be steered by the shape of the head. Like I've seen that is an important factor that ranchers look for when deciding whether or not a bull should be kept a bull or not, is if they have that square-shaped blocky head and those square-shaped and broader shoulders, those types of proportions, if they should be kept as a bull or if they should be steered and used for meat or used for pasture art or used for whatever. But yeah, that's something ranchers do look for. And I think Tex does have a bit more of a slimmer face structure, but that's nothing against Tex. It's just how he looks. Tex's pattern also, like Tex produces good pattern calves. Like you look at Gracie. I'll talk about that later when I discuss the cows. Actually, I'll save that bit of information. But Tex's pattern is what's referred to as a lineback pattern. Yeah, he tends to throw that. Like if you look at Emperor Ed and Georgie, I don't know why his name didn't come into my head. But those he throws that in a good bit of his calves. Yeah, and he also produced Gracie, who's a paint, who has a similar color to Tex's dad. I'll get to that in a future video. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. But yeah, this is the first of these videos, and I'm gonna continue recording and continue putting them out. This will be the first one, and I hope you enjoy this little series that I'm planning on doing. Have a good day. Bye.